Hey folks, I was supposed to take this week off completely for the first time in like 5 years, but due to the breaking news on the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago, the biggest news in years, I'm now signing in to comment reporting live here from Israel. So, according to the New York Times, former President Donald J. Trump said on Monday that the FBI had searched his Palm Beach, Florida home and had broken open a safe, an account signaling a major escalation in the various investigations into the final stages of his presidency. The search, according to multiple people familiar with the investigation, appeared to be focused on material that Trump had brought with him to Mar-a-Lago, his private club and residence, when he left the White House. Those boxes contain many pages of classified documents, according to a person familiar with their contents. Mr. Trump delayed returning 15 boxes of material requested by officials with the National Archives for many months, only doing so when there became a threat of action to retrieve them. The case was referred to the Justice Department by the archives early this year. This is an insane thing. It is just an insane thing. So here is the bottom line here. The FBI is not trusted by many, many Americans. I mean, a majority of Republicans do not trust the FBI, according to polling data. A majority of independents do not trust the FBI, according to polling data. What the FBI just did requires extraordinary institutional trust. This is an FBI under the auspices of a current administration raiding the home of the leader of the last administration and the likeliest potential nominee for the opposition come 2024. It seems like, on the face of it, Banana Republic type stuff. It seems like, on the face of it, pretextual, especially because if you're going to do something like this, there had damned well better be a crime. The crime can't be something like the president of the United States, when he left office, he brought with him stuff. Bill Clinton brought half the White House with him when he left office. He was never raided. It can't be the president of the United States has a battle with the National Archives over material. It can't be about the National Archives. It's got to be more than that. It can't be something like the National Archives is just mad that they don't have a full record of everything that went on, especially if what we are talking about here is not particularly important material. Then there's the problem that the last president of the United States, while he was in office, has plenary authority to declassify anything he wants. So all the other cases that people are talking about today with regard to situations in which people have mishandled classified material, we're talking about people who are not the president of the United States. You're talking about, for example, the former Clinton National Security Advisor, Sandy Berger, who in 2015 received a misdemeanor charge for stuffing classified documents down his pants. Now you're talking about in 2016, the FBI investigating Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified documentation. She could not declassify things. She was the Secretary of State. She was not the President of the United States. And by the way, she was never actually raided. Remember, they grabbed Anthony Weiner's laptop. You remember that they went in a variety of directions trying to garner Hillary Clinton's emails. But despite the fact that James Comey announced that it was actually, quote, possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account because of her mishandling of the classified documents, her house was never raided. Her offices were never raided by the FBI. And then you have several years under President Trump of the FBI attempting to undermine the President of the United States on pretextual information provided by the Clinton campaign. On the basis of the Steele dossier, you had James Comey, the former head of the FBI, when he was head of the FBI, approaching Donald Trump to launder into the press the Steele dossier, knowing that there was nothing in the Steele dossier that had been verified. He went to Donald Trump. He told him about it simply so that the media could then run with the story that the Steele dossier had been presented to President Trump, and therefore it was newsworthy, and BuzzFeed could run all of that material, for example. And then we got years and years of investigations down rabbit holes that led nowhere with regard to Russiagate. In other words, trust in the and I'm amazed to see so many people on the left today, people who are highly critical of the cops normally, Pramila Jayapal, the Progressive Caucus, out there saying things like, well, they wouldn't do this without a basis. Really, wouldn't they? You guys were doing defund the police 5 seconds ago, but now when they're targeting your political opponents, you're all in favor of it. Listen, I'm here on the conservative side of the aisle, and I was willing to let the FBI have a lot of rope when it came to, for example, Russiagate at the very beginning. And then it became clearer and clearer and clearer that the whole thing was a farce. And my trust in that institution was undermined, just as many Americans' trust in that institution was undermined. And now I'm sitting here with some very serious questions as to what the hell they think they're doing. So they'd better get out there with the evidence, with the warrant. The people who are doubtful, the people who think this is a crisis, they are not wrong so far until you show the evidence. No one is taking this one on faith. No one. So you'd best get out there, if you're Christopher Wray of the FBI, and show us what you are doing. If you're Merrick Garland, you better be out there showing us what you're doing, considering that you've spent your presidency going after police departments for no reason, suggesting you're going to go after states if those states don't cram down gender-affirming healthcare, i.e. sex changes on small children. That you're going to go after parents. Why exactly would I trust you? According to the New York Times, The law governing the preservation of White House materials, the Presidential Records Act, lacks teeth, but criminal statutes can come into play, especially in the case of classified material. Criminal codes which carry jail time can be used to prosecute anyone who willfully injures or commits any depredation against any property of the United States, and anyone who willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, or destroys government documents. This is such an amazing thing. The statute that Hillary Clinton was investigated under did not suggest that she needed to have intent to, for example, give the documents to a foreign adversary or something. All it suggested is that negligence in the handling of the documents was criminal. James Comey, because it was politically sensitive, went out of his way, completely rewrote the statute. Why? Because he didn't want to indict the actual nominee of the Democratic Party at the time. So now you have somebody who's just as important as Hillary Clinton was in 2016. More important because this guy's been president of the United States. And you're trotting out the Presidential Records Act here? According to the New York Times, the items in the boxes seized by the FBI included documents, mementos, gifts, and letters. The archives did not describe the classified material it found other than to say it was classified national security information. The question of how Trump handled classified material is complicated because as president, he has the authority to declassify any government information. It is unclear whether Trump, before leaving office, had declassified the materials the archives discovered in the boxes. They don't even know whether he declassified this stuff, and they're still raiding him. If that is what this boils down to, some sort of miscommunication in which the FBI goes after the former president of the United States for a raid on his home because there is some miscommunication about the identification of documents, there's going to be hell to pay. There really will be. The adjudication of how this is going to work in our politics going forward, when it feels like, correctly, if this is nothing, if it feels like all of the institutions of our government have been mobilized against one side, things are going to get really, really, really ugly. I know what you're thinking. It's time to binge some more Ben Shapiro videos. Well, you are right. You should. But first, like and subscribe. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video.